Hey, y'all, I want to bring y'all back to D4VD, David and Celeste's case, even though David hasn't been charged. I want to take y'all back to here before I tell you what I have discovered for later. Because later we're going to get into Steve Fisher, uh, one of the PIs involved in the investigation. We're going to get into that in a few seconds. Um, Check this out, y'all, and then I want to stop it.
Yeah, her name was Celeste Rivas. She was last seen leaving her home here back in 2024. Her family thought she was missing. She was declared missing back then. They had no idea there could even be a connection to the body of the Tesla until they got a call from TMZ last week. Now, keep in mind that David has been cooperating with authorities. He has not been named a person of interest, let alone a suspect. But at this point, this concert in Seattle, the next concert date, has been canceled, and people here are saying, what's going on? Take a look. Few words from those arriving at the Lake Elsinore home where 15-year-old Celeste Rivas disappeared in April of 2024. Her family has just found out that it is her partially dismembered body that was found in the trunk of a Tesla registered to popular singer-songwriter David Anthony Burke, known by the stage name David. TMZ broke the girl's identification after speaking to her mother.
It was a very heart-wrenching conversation. She was very upset and said that all she knew is that, her daughter had been missing all of this time. She told us that
My daughter been missing all of this time. Wow. And just remind y'all that the police been out to the house about 11 times.
She was aware that there was a boyfriend named David.
And that her daughter had a tattoo with the letters "shh" on her.
She was aware that she had a boyfriend named David. How old is David, ma'am? Where did David live, ma'am? Do you know the parents, ma'am? You know how David looked, ma'am? She got to know something. Something.
Right index finger.
That the color of the ink of that tattoo was red, which was something that police had not released to the public.
The singer, who has been cooperating with police, had continued his tour after the body was discovered, but he just canceled his next date in Seattle.
But it just seemed odd to us that, gosh, your car, such a grisly discovery in your car, and that you're just out on tour. You would think that, you'd want to find out what happened here, because this is just a very bizarre case.
Especially because one of his videos actually features a body being put in the trunk of a car.
It's just eerie considering what ended up happening in David's car.
I just hope that the truth comes forward.
Celeste's neighbors on the street she grew up at.
Justicia.
Justice is what family and friends are asking for.
This is Steve Fisher, the PI for the guy who owned the house. It was some things in that house, y'all, that could have been a Halloween spooky night. Listen to this.
Steve Fisher, the private investigator who was hired by the landlord of the property that David was apparently staying at in Los Angeles. If you recall, authorities searched that property. David moved his stuff out. The Tesla with Celeste's body was near that place too. Listen to what Fisher had to say as we try to understand the potential connection between David and Celeste.
We now have a much better understanding of when that Tesla arrived at that final parking spot. I'll tell you, I do have surveillance from different houses in the neighborhood showing Tesla being moved.
Do you know who was driving that car, that Tesla? You don't have to tell me, but do you know the identity?
Yeah, as far as it going to the final, that what we believe is the final parking spot where it was towed from, yes.
Do you know if Celeste was ever at that property?
What we recovered, we don't have any of her at that property. We have pictures of her and that were taken by David. We assume, because it's not on a camera phone, but these makes me think that it's likely she had another place she was staying. I can tell you that.
Bingo. She had another place downtown where she was living, staying. Oh my gosh. This is a middle school girl. Jeez. What y'all think about that?
There was a lot of time spent towards downtown LA, but I will say this: there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as.
Now this is spooky. Now this is spooky. This is what you call a Halloween night. This is spooky. You heard what he said. Let me back it back.
Fisher had to say as we try to understand the potential connection between David and Celeste.
Now, have a much better understanding of when that Tesla arrived at that final parking spot. I'll tell you, I do have surveillance from different houses in the neighborhood showing Tesla being moved.
Do you know who was driving that car, that Tesla? You don't have to tell me, but do you know the identity?
Yeah, as far as going to the final, that what we believe is the final parking spot where it was towed from, yes.
Do you know if Celeste was
How he know that? How he know who was driving that car? But didn't nobody know it at first.
at that property?
You know, what we recovered, we don't have any of her at that property. We have pictures of her and that were taken by David. We assume, because it's not on a camera phone, but these photos are on a regular camera.
He said none of these photos are on regular camera. Who is this dude right here, y'all? He really don't seem like he know what he talking about.
Locations, and it really makes me think that it's likely she had another place she was staying.
So you think she has another place where she was staying?
I can tell you that there was a lot of time spent towards downtown LA, but I will say this: there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, the sadistic stuff. It's and that's why we're trying to learn more about that, because and I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with her, how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's things that were just like, will blow your mind.
This is one of the spookiest case, y'all. This is one of the spookiest investigation. We got a girl, a dead body in a Tesla, and we don't know who put her in there. But with all the surveillance camera that they have, why we don't know that? Okay, and then you got Fisher. He's saying that you can see who's driving the car from one street to the other street coming from Dave's house. What is it to believe, y'all? Why we can't hear from LAPD?
Breaking news, they now know who was driving David's Tesla right before Celeste's body was discovered inside of the Frunk. The owner of the Hollywood home that David was renting has hired a private investigator. That private investigator has now uncovered surveillance footage from July 29th showing an individual driving the Tesla. They also mentioned the individual that moved the Tesla from one point to another rolled down the window when it was only 77 degrees out roughly. They also hung an air freshener from the front rear view mirror. The private investigator said that the driving was also wearing something very distinctive, and that the private investigator was able to obtain video from 12 hours earlier showing that same person at the home wearing the same thing. However, due to investigative purposes, they will not disclose whom that individual is or their relation to the singer David. The investigator also said that there is a chance the person driving the vehicle was simply asked to move it and may have had no idea that Celeste was in the trunk. The investigator said, quote, "I find it very hard to believe if that's the case, but just in case, I'd like the LAPD to make that announcement." To stay up to date on this case, make sure you click the playlist below. I'll keep you guys up.
And even more tragic, she was 15 now, and when she went missing, she was only 13 years old. She went missing in April of 2024. It sounds like from everything that we've heard and been told that she had a really troubled time at home and just a troubled life in general. In about a 14-month period, cops were dispatched out to her family home in the Los Angeles area. It's about 50 or so miles outside of LA. 11 times in that 13 or so month period. Nothing major, but disturbances and things like that where they were dispatched out. And she had run away at certain periods of time. It's not that it was a one-time thing where she disappeared in April of 2024. She had run away a couple of times prior and had been returned. Sadly, this time she never came back, and she was missing until she was eventually found deceased. And it's a horribly sad story. Police trying to still figure out what happened. They've not named David a suspect, though they have raided his home. They've searched his home for blood. There are a lot of questions. And you're absolutely right. He was on tour when the body was found, but there is a lot of reason to suggest that her body was inside the vehicle for weeks before. So if this was a crime, and it wasn't an accidental death, say, if there was an actual crime here, it's been really hard nailing down when the crime happened, when her death happened. They did an autopsy. They're not even able to determine how she died. They're waiting for toxicology reports. So it's a really difficult investigation because of the length of time that passed in between. And I think everyone's taking a wait-and-see approach on this guy. He's a pretty big star and becoming bigger, but he had new music that was about to come out. A lot of companies and partners of his have pressed pause now, obviously trying to figure out, did he have anything to do with this horrible situation? So it's just a sad story. Again, she was 15 years old and she's gone.
Have we heard from him at all? And has
14.
he publicly spoken about this? Made a statement?
No.
Nothing?
No, he has not. And you're right. He was performing. He continued to perform for a couple of days after this happened. And I think it got to the point where it's just not possible to do it anymore because the story had gotten so much attention that he just couldn't continue to tour. It just looked horrible, first of all, and I think people who were associated with him didn't want him touring. So he has not, though, to answer the question, he has not said anything yet, and I think fans and people are eager to hear him speak. They want to know what happened, because he did have some connection with this person, because there's photos, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that they might have been in some sort of...
But see, he the first celebrity that I seen that stopped his money for coming in after being accused of doing something that he has not been named up, charged, or nothing. So why he's not performing is what's tripping me out. If he haven't did nothing, why he's not performing? He already did the celebration doing his tour. So why is he not touring if he don't have anything to do with nothing? That's what I don't understand, that part.
Might have been a friendship, might have been a relationship, unclear, but they knew each other. That's a fact.
I'm seeing here, too, that there was some new surveillance. 2 different incidents, one to a liquor store.
Yeah, because I think, there was some surveillance showing her in a dispute with a neighbor, and they're kind of having an argument seemingly back and forth. I think people are interested in the surveillance video because you want to see where she was, when she was alive, because again, it's unclear when she passed away. So I think if you see a video and it's from, pick random date, you could say, okay, obviously she was alive on that day, and it provides a timeline in many ways. So I think that's why, and people are just interested in what her life was like. Where was she living? Was she living on the street? What was going on with her? Because that that can likely answer a lot of the questions here that are still unanswered.
This is what I want to know. Why are they acting like TMZ are the investigators? Why are they acting like TMZ are the policemen? Why are they questioning TMZ? Why the answers that TMZ getting that the investigators can't give us? It's something about this case. All right, y'all. The lead investigators of the case is TMZ. They spoke to the prosecutors, district attorney, about what's going on in here, what they have.
With the Celeste Rivas Hernandez investigation, a lot of people are interested in this.
It is currently under investigation.
What, is David a suspect? Are there any suspects that you guys have on a list that you're keeping tight to vest? Is there?
So we don't discuss suspects or the points in a continuing investigation. When and if that case is presented to the DA's office and we make a decision on it, I'll make sure you're one of the first to know.
Thank you.
This case is really like, this is a case that, like it's a movie, like somebody trying to throw us off. The reason why I say that, y'all, because the funeral don't even seem like a funeral. Where's her friends? Why wasn't the people who cared about her at the funeral? It's like a Hollywood funeral to me, like a movie funeral. Not trying to be disrespectful towards the family, but something ain't right.
As the LAPD continues its investigation into the death of 15-year-old Celeste, this is still being referred to as a death investigation, not a homicide, and it's been more than 2 weeks since her remains were found here at this Hollywood tow yard. Take a look, 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez pictured here. Her family finally able to receive her body. The LA County Medical Examiner confirms the remains were released to her family for memorial services, but officials haven't made public exactly how she died or whether or not results are pending. Her remains found a day after what would have been her 15th birthday, stuffed inside of a Tesla, impounded here to this tow yard after reports of a strong stench, and that Tesla registered to the singer David, real name David Anthony Burke. He has since canceled the rest of his world tour for his album that was released earlier this year. And
well, why did he do that? Why did he cancel everything if he don't have no involvement? That's weird.
Hasn't been involved or named a suspect. A detective searched a Hollywood Hills home the artist was renting not far from where that Tesla was abandoned before being impounded. And as investigators work to piece all of this together, TMZ's Harvey Levin.
See y'all right here? She looks like a elementary school child, a middle school child. But on them other pictures, it looked like they switched it up to an older girl. Unless this the child, elementary, 4th grade picture that they showing us.
Joined Fox 11 last night saying police have been very tight-lipped about all this.
I have rarely seen the LAPD play their cards as close to the vest as they are in this case. They are on lockdown. There is some radio silence here that personally I find unusual, just based on the way things have operated, as long as we've been around for 20 years.
Now, David's team says he's cooperating with the LAPD's investigation, but it's not clear what he's told them. Celeste's family describing her as a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend. The family, through a GoFundMe, has raised more than $24,000 for funeral expenses and back out.
Yo, I can't believe that the cops went up to her house 11 times. 11 times. I just can't believe it. Why is she keep running away? Why did she keep running away? She don't even have a car. So somebody had to pick her up. And if the mama know that she dealing with a boy named David, why is she running away?
About Celeste's family,
11.
The dates are February 2024 to April 2025. And remember, the family reported Celeste missing for the last time in April of 2024. So those calls continued for a year while she was ostensibly missing. And until this week, we believe that April of 2024 was the last time that they'd seen each other, right? Celeste and her family.
See, that's what I said. The last time they saw each other was in April. So she really ain't seen her daughter in a year. So what did they do? Did they report it? And that's why I asked y'all, where was she in last year during Christmas and the holiday? This is weird. We got to get to the bottom of this crime, to this case. I'm not going to give up because on it, her when the police were called, it was like minor crime. When the police called, it was like minor crimes. Excuse my voice, y'all. Something else is going on, and it seemed like she's doing something she's not supposed to be doing.
Listed as, quote, minor crime investigation, except for one of them. And that one was described as, quote, suspicious circumstances.
Right.
Again, no details available from the police, but the dates of these calls speak volumes. 3 of the calls happened on one day, March 19th, 2024, which, by the way, yeah, that's the day that Celeste ran away. She was caught on surveillance camera in a neighborhood liquor store, running down the street at 7 a.m. Black car was seen pulling out after her, but it's not clear if Celeste had gotten into it.
And you know what? You see how the little kids start running? They ran because they saw her running. See, Celeste met somebody. I don't know if this car picked her up or what. She meeting somebody.
Something that happened that the liquor store owner saw, but it wasn't caught on tape. 2 of the 3 visits that day were to Celeste's home. Cops came to her home 2 times, but the 3rd visit that police made was to that liquor store. Celeste's sister also visited that liquor store on that day and asked to review that surveillance video. One of the other police visits that TMZ documented was at 9:29 p.m. on April 5th, 2024. That time is about a half hour after the
Right.
family reported her missing to the police for the very last time. So they report her missing at 9 p.m. and at 9:30 the police are at their door.
That's crazy. That is crazy. And then she ended up in a Tesla. See, it's a secret. Something going on where it's a secret and you can't tell nobody. That's what it seemed like.
Officially, Celeste was still missing when her badly decomposed remains were found here in this impound lot in the front trunk of David's Tesla. This was 23 days ago. But was Celeste really...
Look at here, y'all. When did she get put in that Tesla? Because that's what they doing now, taking a picture. When did she get put in a Tesla? Now, David, we know July the 29th, you got time enough to do what you got to do. What is it about this Celeste that you didn't like anymore? Somebody didn't like, or they couldn't get rid of her. It seemed like she kept coming back there, and they don't want her around, but she constantly keep coming back. That's what it sounds like. Like it's Celeste. It's Celeste. She don't want to go to school. She in love now. She like what she doing. She like what's happening. And she the one seem like the men keep coming back. And since they couldn't stop her from coming back, allegedly, something happened. What y'all think? Put it in the comment section, y'all. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you think about this case. It's spooky.